Good evening, hello and welcome, genties and ladlemen. It is in fact your boy, Draw for Death Metal here, and today I'm going to do something very original, very unique. Nobody has ever done it before, right? Completely original idea. It's an album of the year list, 2025 edition. I think we'll call it Baldy's Bangers. So here's how it's going to work. We're going to talk about my favourite EPs, little standard, little wee releases there. Got some honourable mentions for the EPs and a top 5 EP list. And then we're going to do the same thing for albums. Got a list of 15 honourable mention albums and 10 albums that I think are amazing. But the honourable mentions just weren't quite tickling my pickle enough to reach that I'm good at words, I'm not editing that out. Fuck that. Top 10 albums didn't quite tickle my pickle enough to reach the top 10 albums, but I still recommend anyway, and they're all very, very good. And then after that, I'm going to be talking about my favourite album artwork, my favourite lyric from a record or a song, and my favourite verse, breakdown, riff type deal. So yeah, let's get it on. Up first, we have EPs, and to start us off with, got to shout out a couple of my pals' bands. Cracking the Shell alumni with their admittedly very late into the year releases that only just came out a little bit ago when I was recording this. We have got Night Gaunt, or as I like to call it, Nacht Gavant, to piss off Jake. Love you, bro. We've got the Signs of Impending Doom demo. Really sick, kind of doomy, occulty, black metal. Sounds like shit, but that's how we love it. It's really good. I'll leave the Bandcamp link in the description, and I'm sure you'll love it. Really, really good stuff. Buy a t-shirt, buy a hat, give the homies some love, alright? Up next, we have got Canny C, GHC, with the Visually Impaired EP. This is just really solid, smashing, Glasgow hardcore. You might know names like No Known Weakness, Hard Stare, Lesser Beings. This crop of youngsters are the latest group in that fad, and it's just really good hardcore, you know what I mean? Got some big sick grooves. My man Janice absolutely slaying the vocals as well. Just really, really good hardcore. Again, I'll leave the Bandcamp in the link below. They've got t-shirts. Give the homies some love. Up next, number 5 in the honourable mentions list, we have got Catalysis with The Only Way Out Is Through EP. This is some groovy, thrashy, kind of bordering metalcore, but it's not quite cringe. I'm joking, they're not cringe. They're lovely, lovely boys. This is a bit of a rebirth for them, giving their long-time guitarist and vocalist departure, but the new members, Robbie and Downey, on bass and vocals respectively, certainly don't slouch in any way, and of course, the riffs they've been cooking, it's fire. It's got sick thrashy riffs, got some breakdowns, got some groove, it's catchy. Give the Catalysis boys some love. Up next at number 4, we have 357 Homicide with Cremating the Dismembered. It's slam. Y'all know me. I like my slam. I like ringing dodgeball snare. I like jun 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 jun. And if you like that, you'll like 357 Homicide and their new EP. If you don't like that, you're not gonna like it. What do I look like? Anthony Fantano? Shut the fuck up, no I didn't. But in any case, at the number 3 spot for our honourable mentions for the EPs, we have got American deathcore band Mauled with their self-titled debut EP, which is funnily enough called Mauled. This is that old school deathcore shit. Not Blown Ashore, not Slaughter to Prevail, none of that new sterile, clean stuff, which, I'll admit, I like Lorna Shore. Slaughter to Prevail, don't really care about, but Mauled is that old school deathcore. You're talking MySpace style shit, Rose Funeral, Early Suffocate, very much in that kind of crop of bands as well. Highly recommend it. Well, good stuff, big stinky breakdowns, production is killer, that perfect balance of old school grit while still being polished enough to not sound like meat soup. Overall, absolutely recommend it. And lastly, for the honourable mentions of the EPs, we have got Dissolving Entity with Parasite Enthroned. This is the new brutal death metal project from my boys David Easton and Luke Lockley, the first two guests of Cracking the Shell, might I add. Feel free to go and watch those episodes. This is just really solid, brutal death metal. Production is absolutely killer. Vocals are killer. Don't know what else to say. I mean, again, I'm not Anthony Fantano. I'm not professional. I'm just an idiot that likes music. You know what I mean? It's just good. If you like brutal death metal in the name of Disgorge, Defeated Sanity, Dehumanized, if you like that kind of stuff, definitely give them a look. Okay, now we are on to the top 5 EPs, and we're going to start off with my boys in Techie Melodeath group, God Eater with Alvaresser. I don't know why they keep giving the releases such weird names. I'm an idiot, I can't pronounce them, but what I can pronounce is that these riffs are sick. This is also their first release with big Jim Harrison, who has been in the band for a couple of years now, but obviously pandemic and didn't really get to tour a lot for the previous release Vespera, but you've certainly not wasted time cooking in the kitchen. It's just really good techie melodeath with production job by big Frederick Nordstrom, who you might know from doing a lot of In Flames' earliest and best, frankly, work, but nonetheless, it's really good techie melodeath. Wee 5-song slab just to kind of get them back into the circuit. They've got a couple of release shows as well happening in the next couple of months. Make sure you check them out. Up next for number 4 we have got Corpse Pile, In the Beginning. It's more slam. You guys know me, I'm a slam guy. It's just absolutely crushingly heavy. The production has definitely stood... fuck's sake. The production has stepped up from their previous 2 EPs, including their Christmas EP, which I still think's hilarious, slamming brutal Christmas songs. But yeah, it's got plenty of everything you could want from any kind of slam. Fucking well good. And then lastly, for number 3, we have got Jaundice with Infernal Demise. I still can't believe that this band isn't even old enough to buy beer, but they managed to play to sell out Ivory Blacks like last year, which is insane. And this debut EP is some of the best old school death metal I've heard in years, and I am not joking when I say that. Like, genuinely, the riffs, the production especially, I know I talk a lot about the production, but it's important that what you're hearing does sound good, like whether it sounds true cult or if it's actually properly produced. But this is a prime example of amazing production. Everything just sits really nice and level. There's doomy bits, there's fast bits with lots of trim picking, little pockets of blast beats, but they don't overuse them to the point where I'm just here going. An amazing debut, and I cannot wait to see where they go from here if they do decide to go anywhere. Big up Jaundice, again, link down below, check it out. And at number 2 we have Fimbo Winter with their debut EP What Once Was. This is 3 ex-members of Amon Amarth from their beginning days, and Australian vocalist Clint Williams forming a semi-supergroup of basically Amon Amarth back when they were good. There you go. It's just really sick melodeath. The cover art in this EP is actually amazing as well, I really like it. But production is killer, riffs are killer. It's just really good melodeath. What more do you want? And then lastly, for my number 1 EP of 2025, we have them lovely Geordie deathcore boys in Osaya with Ion, Aion. Again, words are hard, I'm an idiot. Don't look to me for how to speak English. But Osaya with Ion. This takes what they were doing on Kairos and just makes it even better. It's proper modern yet old school deathcore. It's not got that same kind of sterilized Josh Schroeder production. We get there in the end, boys and girls. We get there in the end. But it just sounds huge. In fact, even on Kairos, who was made by the same producer, Christian Donaldson, somehow sounds even better. Everything just sounds fuller and heavier and meaner. And obviously, Ricky is one of the best deathcore vocalists, and he frankly needs a lot more love. But yeah, that's my top EPs. I will have links to everything down below. Make sure you give these guys some love. If it's up to me, I'd be having them headlining arenas. But check out all these EPs. Well, good stuff. Up next, we have got 15 honourable mentions for full-length albums. I should also have said this at the beginning of the video, but I will not be talking about any re-recordings, live records, compilations, splits, or anything like that. Purely full-length or EP studio releases. So we've got 15 honourable mentions for albums and then a top 10 list as well. And we're going to start off the honourable mentions with number 15 with Dying Wish, Flesh Stays Together. This is more of a kind of emo-y type hardcore record, but it's not like, look at me, my girlfriend didn't take me to prom. No, this is actual like gut-wrenching, emotional, metallic hardcore. The riffs are heavy. Emma's vocals are just on point in this release as well, perfectly blending clean singing and her screams, which sound absolutely banshee-like. This is their third record as well, and if they keep this going, I think they can only get better from here. I like this record a lot more than Symptoms of Survival. I just feel this record was a little bit more cohesive. Kind of had its mission statement was a lot more clear upon the first few listens, which I've listened to this a bunch, as is the same with everything I've talked about in this video. But overall, if they keep going in this trajectory, I really think that they've got a really bright future ahead of them. Check out if you like melodic hardcore with some kind of really harsh screamy bits and absolute gut-wrenching lyrics. Genuinely, really good stuff. At number 14 we have got Demon Hunter with There Was a Light Here. I know the words Christian metalcore might make a lot of people go but this band ain't nothing to fuck with. They've been around since the early 2000s and they've been ridiculously consistent in their output. There isn't a particular album that I would say is dreadful. They've only just been getting better and better, throwing in some new seasoning with their same dish, which is usually thrashy metalcore with a little bit of NuMetal mixed in there. Just the NuMetal riffs, don't worry, there's no like turntables or obnoxious rapping or anything, don't worry about it. But Ryan Clark is one of my favourite vocalists, and I think he deserves a lot more love. He can seamlessly go from screams to his absolutely gorgeous clean singing. They just smash it out of the park here, I really think so. This is definitely a lot better than their previous album Exile, especially the back half of the album. It really slays, with stuff like the last track being a beautiful ballad to end the album out after the previous 11 songs ass beating you. Give it a chance, you might find you like it, and if you don't, it's not a big deal, but I really like it. And speaking of Christian metal, I know, breakdowns in the name of Jesus, we have got With Blood Comes... Again, I'm not editing this out, I like to do it raw, we're going to do it live, fuck it. Christian metal, we have got With Blood Comes Cleansing, a self-titled album, which you can guess is called With Blood Comes Cleansing. This is their first album in nearly 20 years, since their previous album, Horror, in 2008. And this album just does that, but even better. The production is insane, the breakdowns meaty, and plus it's Christian metal that doesn't preach at you. It's not like some Skillet shit, which, rip Skillet, you were good once. But this is just proper brutal deathcore. Insane vocals, the breakdowns are massive, and they also do that thing where they slow the breakdown down. Breakdown down. But overall, if you like old school deathcore, definitely, or if you're just curious at all, check out With Blood Comes Cleansing, and everything else they've done. Those two first albums from 2006 and 2008, Golgotha and Horror, really good examples of that MySpace sound that a lot of people don't talk about, but they definitely should. Up next, at number 12, we have got King 810 with Rustbelt NuMetal, the first one. They were pretty bold with these two releases, not only putting out two full-length albums in the same year, but also doing it all in basically one take live in the studio, which sounds mental and nobody would think to do it, but they did it, and it surprisingly sounds really, really good, and I definitely preferred it a little bit more than like Suicide Machine or AK-47 Concerto. it just felt a little bit more complete. It felt a little bit more back to the roots of like the first record, without any of the like weird avant-gardeness, which I do like to a certain extent, but I come to King 810 for massive riffs and David Gunn absolutely spewing his guts out over the microphone. And you definitely get that with this album. Not so much Rustbelt NuMetal 2, but definitely this one, so I'm definitely going to put that in my honourable mentions for sure. Up next at number 11 we have got Orthodox with A Door Left Open. This is just savage. When I talk about metallic hardcore, this is an album that I will absolutely point to, and a band in general. It's crushingly heavy, it's got insane amounts of groove, it's got that same kind of hardcore pissed off attitude, but it has that kind of metal style of songwriting with good metal production, instead of sounding like it was recorded in your pal's basement. Kind of like black metal, but angrier, and wears like Nikes. But yeah, this is I think their third album as well, but they absolutely smashed it with this one. And this is another prime example of this kind of up and coming revival of metallic hardcore in the names of bands like Earth Crisis, Incendiary, a bunch of other ones that I'm sure I'm forgetting, but again, I'm not Anthony Fantano. I just talk about music and I yap a bunch. Got that dog in me and its name is Tism. But speaking of Tisms, up next at number 10 we have got Bleed From Within, them good old Scottish boys with Zenith. I like this album a lot more than Shrine. Shrine had its moments, but overall it just didn't really grab me by the cojones. But as soon as you put on Violent Nature and it kicks you in the nuts, you know that this band mean business, and quite frankly, they deserve it. And not only that, but this album has led them to touring around the world and capping it off with 2 nights at the Barrowlands Ballroom, completely sold out. That's 4,000 tickets sold on this album. It's just really, really good. The choruses are catchier, the riffs are aplenty, Ali absolutely smashes it in the drums. Production is slick but not sterile as well, which I found kind of happened with Shrine. I know it's kind of the same production team, but definitely I feel with Zenith they really stepped that up a notch. And it's so anthemic, especially when you get to songs like God Complex and A Hope in Hell. Especially A Hope in Hell. I couldn't help but sing that when I saw them live on the first night when they were at the Barras. And plus they were doing the wee pop-up shop, that was a lot of fun. Overall, Bleed From Within are definitely on the right path, and I definitely only see them getting bigger from here. They sell out at the Barras. What next? Hydro? I believe it. I want it to happen. Up next at number 9 we have got the lovely boys in Hammer with their sophomore album Trapped. Very similar to kind of Orthodox, but a little bit more thrashy and death metal elements while still having that kind of groove element. This is their first album with our lovely Jim on vocals. If you haven't seen that Cracking the Shell episode with Jim and Piot, definitely check it out. Wholesome lads, great music, great guys, great band. Got nothing but love for Hammer. And at number 8 we have got Mrs. Frighthouse with Solitude Over Control. This is their debut album released on Laid Bare Recordings. This is doomy, industrial, sludgy, kind of noisy. It's an album that I think would fit in really well with like a horror film soundtrack. It's kind of, it makes me want to sit in a dark room and just regret every single thing I've ever done. But it's made by 2 of the loveliest people that I've ever met. If you haven't checked out that Cracking the Shell episode with Mrs. Frighthouse from well over a year ago now, which is kind of mental, then definitely check it out. And make sure you see them live, because their live show, despite it being just Karis and Luna, not really a lot of instrumentation going on, it's mainly Karis and vocals and then Luna with synths and the laptop, it's still something else. The atmosphere is drenched in misery, but it's really angry misery, just like this album. And hearing some of these songs live as well, it made me rethink a lot about metal as a whole, especially when the kind of more post-rocky, kind of doomy, shoegazy, industrial noise stuff isn't really a genre that I'm a huge fan of, but for some reason, and it might just be the bias, which I don't care anymore, I'm going to shout out my friend's music. It might just be the bias, but you know what? Mrs. Frighthouse does it really well. And speaking of doing it really well, we have got Rancid Cadaver with their debut album, Mortality Denied, released earlier this year. This is an album that I was really looking forward to when it was announced at the end of last year. I had seen a lot of these tracks live as well at the Flying Duck around about the same time. Zombified is easily my favourite Rancid Cadaver song now, and now hearing it properly recorded with that synth intro and the pure obituary of morbid angel worship on that song, as well as on the entire record, it's something. It's like if I had thought of an old school death metal record, this is what would come out, and they absolutely smashed it. It's a real shame that, you know, Ross has left the band and now Higgy's left the band, but you know what? I reckon they'll come back. They'll come back stronger. But this is an incredible debut, and big up Rancid Cadaver. Love those boys. At number 6, we have got Shadow of Intent with Imperium Delerium. This is their 5th, I want to say, full-length album. This is released on Metal Blade Records, and this band are going places. From starting off as a little 2-man deathcore project about the video game series that they were named after, that being Halo, they have definitely evolved into a true live force. I remember seeing them live a couple years ago at 2023 at the Cat House. They were really good live. Ben absolutely brings it. He is one of the best deathcore vocalists I have ever heard, and this album is definitely a showcase of it. In fact, it was that good that George Corpse Grinder appears on a track, as well as, I'm trying to think who else is on it, I can't actually remember. But anyway, this is really good symphonic deathcore, although I will admit it has kind of stripped back a little bit of symphonic elements. It's not nearly as present as it was in Elegy, which I think was definitely a kind of, not a down point for that album, but that album definitely felt bloated. But they've definitely trimmed a bit of the fat with Imperium Delerium, and it shows. Definitely check it out. There's elements of deathcore, there's elements of black metal, a little bit of thrash and death metal. Really, really good stuff. And plus, it was mixed and mastered by Christian Donaldson, so you know it's going to sound good in any case. Up next, we have got Conjurer with Unself. This is a band that I never really got into until this album came out. I believe I'd seen them live with Carcass near the end of 2023, because Coffin Mops were playing as well. But I was there and didn't really know what to make of it at first. It's very doomy, sludgy kind of post-metal, which that kind of thing is not something, like I kind of said with Mrs. Frighthouse, is that I've ever really delved into. But it's still really cool. And this album definitely brings a lot more intensity than what I had heard previously. There's a lot more of a kind of doom influence. The vocals are still hauntingly scary. But yeah, they've got a fan now. I'm definitely going to make sure to check them out in the future, especially live. I definitely want to see them again live. They've recently completed their headliner and they smashed it. Well done, Conjurer. Well done on this album and everywhere that you're going. Big love, Conjurer. Up next at number 4, we have got Angelmaker with This Used to Be Heaven. This is definitely a kind of an expected record for me. This is their first one with Ian Bearer on vocals, ex-Rings of Saturn, taking the place of Mike Greenwood, which I don't remember if they explained what kind of happened with him, but Ian Bearer is no slouch. His vocals are still recognisable, still unique. And then you've got Johnny Cardulo in there as well. Pretty much everybody bar the drummer's the vocalist, which is mental. But the main two are Casey and Ian, and they both smash it. I heard a bunch of this record live earlier this year with Suffocation as well. Silken Hands, I believe they played, and they absolutely smashed it. Production's killer. It is a little bit long in the tooth, but I think it justifies it, because it's not like a lot of filler. Every track kicks ass. Up next at number 3, we have got Malevolence with Where Only the Truth is Spoken. Malevolence have been climbing insanely high over the last 5 or so years. I remember seeing them with Knocked Loose at the Classic Grand, and that's maybe a 300 capacity room, maybe at a push, maybe even half that, and they were the supporting band. Now, fast forward about 4 years after that show, 2023, they headlined and sold out the Garage. Mental. And they're only going to go and do the same thing now with this album. Their trajectory just keeps going up and up and up, because they've got a really good formula. They've really let Conan flex a bit in this track as well. Not only are his riffs sick, but his Pantera-esque, Crowbar-esque cleans really complement Alex, especially in this album. And then of course you've got Josh Baines absolutely ripping it with solos, and then Sea-Dog being one of the best kind of modern metal hardcore / drummers out there. Just really, really good. Malevolence can only get better from here, and I truly believe that. Anyway, at number 2 for the honourable mentions, we have got Abigail Williams, A Void Within Existence. This is really, really... Fuck, what's the kind of word? This is absolutely excellent black metal. A genre that I dip my toe in here and there, and I like a few bands, but not a lot of releases make me stand and go, oh shit, like this one. And there's another one that I'll talk about in a little bit, but this album is really, really good. It's got a really raw production, but not sounding like it was recorded on somebody's old Fiat stereo. Really full, but really raw. You can feel the emotion, especially in Ken Sorceron's vocals. He's definitely a vocalist as well that I think is really underrated. I remember first hearing him, funnily enough, on an Ailstorm song back well over a decade ago at this point. And I had no idea it was him until I kind of looked it up later, and it's like, oh shit, that's Ken Sorceron, what the fuck's he in? Abigail Williams. That's when I kind of found they had released their previous album, whose name I'm blanking on. I'm sure I'll edit it in, but when they released that album, and then obviously the pandemic happened and they kind of fell dormant for a little bit. There was not a lot of activity, but recently they announced new music, and I'm very glad this came out. It's a really good follow-up to the previous album, and I definitely think they could just get better from here if they keep on this path. Or who knows, you never know what to expect with Abigail Williams. They started off kind of black and deathcore, metalcore type thing, and then transitioned into full-on just bestial, yet really atmospheric black metal, which is not something that I usually like in black metal. I like it a lot more savage and beating you over the face. Very similar in a kind of approach to death metal, but overall, yeah. Just, if you like black metal and you haven't checked out Abigail Williams, check out A Void Within Existence. It's just really, really good. And lastly, for the honourable mentions, we have got my number 1 honourable mention, which is Extortionist with Stare Into the Seething Wounds. This band is something that I've not dug too deep into. I kind of found them in 2023 when they announced that they were touring with Distant. Distant played the classic Grand, Extortionists were supporting them, and I found it a really good kind of mix of hardcore and beat down deathcore, but not quite going obnoxious no face no case levels. But what they've started doing since their kind of comeback after the pandemic, they mixed in a lot of grunge elements, which is something that you never think that you might hear in music so heavy, which they did that on the Devoid of Love and Light album that was released last year. And the fact that not only this album came out as quick as it did, but is as girthy as it is mind-blowing. They've really not ranked... I can't speak, fucking hell. Really taken the grunge elements up a notch with this album. And Ben Hoagland has got some of the best clean pipes that I've heard in quite a while. He's properly nailed that Alice in Chains vibe, and if you can get past the kind of mix of beat down hardcore, metalcore, deathcore and grunge, if you can get past that, you've got genuinely some really fucking good music here. I remember seeing the video for The Break I Couldn't Mend, and a lot of people were commenting on it, saying that, oh, why is Unique Leader putting this shit out? It's like, it's not shit, it's good. And good on Unique Leader for championing a band that's willing to blur lines like they're doing. Deathcore has been blended with everything from classical music to fucking NuMetal, but to hear grunge, nobody's doing what Extortionists are doing right now. And I can't wait to hear more, and I can't wait to hear like a full-on grunge song from them. I really think they can kill it. But yeah, if you can get past that, I definitely recommend this album. Got nothing but love for Extortionists, I can't wait to see them live again and to yell in Ben Hoagland's face again. And that was the honourable mentions. Now we're on to the top 10 albums. Up next, with number 10 on my top 10 albums of 2025, we have got the Acacia strain with You Are Safe from God Here. This is a continuation of what the Acacia strain's been doing over the last about 5 or so years. They've been taking a bit more of an experimental approach. It started off with It Comes in Waves, kind of bringing in a lot more of that kind of doomy, sludgy, kind of post-metal type vibe into a lot of their sound, which only got further explored on Slow Decay, and then especially on Failure Will Follow from their kind of, I think it's 2 separate albums, but the titles kind of tie in together, and musically it contrasts a lot well with its predecessor. But Failure Will Follow is 3 songs, about half an hour of pure sludgy, doomy, almost frightening kind of post-metal vibes. And then you've got Step Into Light, which is about 20 odd minutes of ass-beating deathcore, with most songs being only about 2 minutes. But they've kind of continued that kind of streak with this album, but instead of being on 2 separate discs, they've combined it into one, with with an incredible production. Vincent Bennett is definitely an underrated vocalist as well. I know I've said that a lot, but I truly believe it, and the vocalists that I've talked about and the bands I've talked about definitely deserve more love, so give them some love. That's in order. But anyway, they've definitely mastered that kind of blending of sound with this album. They've got a lot of the kind of doomy, sludgy elements, but they've also got really sharp transitions into just absolute ass-beating, almost bordering on grindcore levels of deathcore. And of course their breakdowns are still some of the dummiest, heaviest that deathcore's put out in the last 20 years. I can only see them getting better at this kind of mixing of styles, and it's really good to see deathcore bands kind of going out there. Whether you're going in the blackened direction like Lorna Shore, or you're doing the kind of doomy, sludgy, hardcore type thing like the Acacia strain, it's something I definitely encourage and I want to see a lot more of. But yeah, big up the Acacia strain. Hopefully I'll see them live one day. I was meant to go and see them with Paleface earlier this year, but life gets in the way, and it sucks. But I will see the Acacia strain. I want to so bad, and it will happen. Check out You Are Safe from God Here. It's a masterclass in what they've been doing, and they're only going to get better. Up next at number 9, we have got Orbit Culture with Death Above Life. This band have been growing exponentially and are a prime example of modern metal in the context of it sounding modern, it not sounding like really old school. If you can get past that, there's a lot of groove, there's a lot of thrash, even elements of classic heavy metal in there with their guitar solos and their leads and stuff like that. But Death Above Life was produced by Buster Odelholm, who most people will know from being in Humanity's Last Breath, Valjarta, and a whole host of other projects, I'm sure, and has been dipping his toes into production with other bands as well. And you can definitely feel the Buster influence in this album. The guitars are bordering so hard on Thal. I'm surprised they haven't just labelled this as Humanity's Last Breath, but overall just absurdly heavy, but not sterile. I don't feel it's a sterile production, which a lot of people kind of say about modern metal in the vein of bands like Spirit Box, Orbit Culture, many others. But if you can get past that production, then there's a lot of really sick riffs, big breakdowns, huge vocals. This band have been touring non-stop. Their first headline show was at the Cat House, and then they played the SWG3. I could see them filling out the Barrowlands, to be honest. They're the Swedish version of Bleed From Within. They've got that mix of groovy metalcore with some thrash. A lot of cinematic kind of like almost orchestral moments as well, like the beginning of Hydra, where it sounds like something out of Doom before it kicks in with that huge chugging groove. Oh, absolutely love it. Got nothing but love for Orbit Culture, and I really hope they keep doing what they're doing. It's just really, really good. And speaking of really, really good, we have got Psychoframe with what is probably the hardest album title that I have heard this year. Salvation laughs in the face of a grieving mother. Holy shit. And the album itself lives up to that title. It is absurdly fast, absurdly heavy. The blast beats almost border on grind, and it is a monstrous deathcore record. The breakdowns are massive. If you like modern deathcore in the name of bands like Lorna Shore but without the blackened elements, but the craziness is just cranked up to its maximum, then definitely check out Psychoframe. They've been touring all over America. They're coming to Europe next. They've been to Europe with Malevolence. They're coming back next year with Body Snatcher. You best believe I would be doing my damnedest to go. This is an absurd debut album, and again, it wins the award for hardest album title that I've heard this year. Psychoframe's Salvation laughs in the face of a grieving mother. It's just really insane, absolute batshit. If you like your music, absolute batshit, wall of sound type deal, definitely check out Psychoframe. Up next, we have got Peelingflesh with PF Radio 2. I'm the biggest Peelingflesh stan in Scotland. I don't care. I finally got to see them live a few weeks ago with All Shall Perish, and they've been living up to their hype. Since the release of the G-Code, they have been selling out headline shows, and their first tour over here was with Deathcore Legends, and I'm fairly sure they're going to be coming back next year. And if they headline, it's going to sell out mega quick. In fact, by the time they got to Glasgow on the Friday, or on the Wednesday, they had near sold out of merchandise. Completely everything. There was only 2XLs, 3XLs, smalls, mediums, a few of them left. And for being 6 days into your tour, I'd say that's pretty good. Peelingflesh deserve the hype. They have found their thing, and they do it really well. They are like the AC/DC of Slam in that they have found their thing, and they just do it exceptionally well. The production is incredible. Michael Soto creates some of the best Slam sounds that I've ever heard outside of Demigod recordings. It's like he took what Demigod recordings did and just cranked it stupidly high. And despite only using a 6-string, it sounds menacing as hell. The slams hit hard, the snare is pingy, there's blast beats. Demontiel Harris is one of the best slam vocalists in the game right now, and the fact that they have been on such a trajectory since their formation in 2021, it's deserved, I reckon. I genuinely believe that it's deserved, and I only hope that Slam just grows more and more from here. It's turning more people onto Slam. No matter how you feel about it, I know some people are like, oh, they're not real Slam. Where's your Slam band then? Come on. Let me hear it. Let me hear it. But until then, shut the fuck up about Peelingflesh. They're the goats. They're the band that have hooked me onto Slam, and I don't see that stopping. And I only see them getting bigger and bigger. Next thing you know, Peelingflesh will fucking sell out the garage. I'd go with that. That'd be fucking mental. They got more of a crowd response than All Shall Perish did at that show, and I find that insane. I had heard that, because I had left after Peelingflesh, that 30% of people just left after Peelingflesh's set to stay for All Shall Perish. I kind of wish I did, but you know what? Peelingflesh are the main reason I bought the ticket, and I will be seeing them as many times as possible in the future. Up next, we have got Black Braid with Black Braid 3. This is my first exposure to this one-man Native American black metal project, and what an exposure. This is one of probably the best black metal album that I have heard, not just this year, but in the last few, since probably Dark Funeral's last record, and that was in 2022. But yeah, this is just absurdly beautiful. Production is on point, and even the cover art as well, which you can see here or there or wherever I put it, is insanely gorgeous. But definitely, if you like black metal and you like it sounding huge but not mega cheesy, i.e. Cradle of Filth, I'm joking, I love Cradle of Filth, but if you like your black metal to sound huge, atmospheric, grand, but still visceral as all get out, definitely check out Black Braid 3. Toss them a few quid on Bandcamp. They're touring the UK next year in April. I'm going to do my best to be there, because I'm sure the live show is going to be just as spectacular as the record. Up next at number 5, we have got Omnium Gatherum with May the Bridges We Burn Light the Way. This is my first exposure to this Finnish Melodeath band, and I'm not going to lie, it has me hooked. They have branded themselves as what's called adult-oriented death metal, which they combine a lot of the kind of cheesy pop elements, mainly in their solos and their songwriting style, but with still a lot of the visceral heaviness of Melodeath. In particular, Yuka is one of the best, like, kind of old school death metal, fucking Melodeath style vocalist I've heard in ages. The solos are sick. They keep it simple, but they give you a big flash. It's just like you hear the song, bam, solo, but it doesn't outstay its welcome with a lot of guitar wankery. But yeah, if you like Melodeath with a little bit of a twist, a little something different, check out Where the Bridges We Burn Light the Way. Hopefully they tour in Scotland. I would love to see Omnium Gatherum live. It sounds like a giant party. They have that kind of party spirit, but without being mega cheesy and obnoxious. There are cleans in this album, performed by guitarist Marcus, but they are not obnoxiously boring and out of place. I feel they fit really well, and yeah, hopefully this new direction keeps going. I'd say it pays off, but I can see why this album would maybe divide people, but it's in my top 5. Really good stuff. If you like Melodeath, give it a spin. You might end up liking it. It sounds weird out of context, like the way I'm saying it, but I think they do it really well. Up next at number 4, we have got Paradise Lost with their new album Ascension. This is their last one with their drummer Guido, whose last name I forget, who played on the Icon 30 re-recording, but he did not leave empty-handed. The drum performances in this album are insane, but not to the point where it overpowers the songs, and the songs in here are some of the best that they've written, and I was very worried with how well Obsidian was received and how much I liked it. Where would they go with it? Where would they go after Obsidian, which felt like the kind of the be-all, end-all of everything that they've done in their career? The absurdly heavy death doom, the gothic rock style thing, a little bit more of that old school goth kind of sound, like Sisters of Mercy, Susie and the Banshees, very much that kind of vibe. They've mixed all of that in really well with Obsidian, and they've done the same thing, I would say, with Ascension, with an even better production, which I believe was mostly handled by Greg in his home studio, Black Planet Studios. I don't remember who mixed and mastered it. I know that the vocals and drums were engineered elsewhere, but holy shit, the drum tones on this album are incredible. They're hit just right, they're just right in the mix, they don't overpower anything, and Guido, he's got a lot of every kind of chop. He's got the metal chops, like there's little pockets of double bass here and there, some fantastic fills, in particular on kind of the midpoint of the bonus track, A Life Unknown. That tom fill just tickles me in a really nice way every time I hear it. It's about the 151 mark of the song, during a kind of interlude type bit, which while this album might seem bloated, it isn't. I would say it's everything they've done in their career. It's very much Obsidian Part 2 in the best way, but without kind of rehashing things, if that makes sense. It feels fresh, and the fact that Paradise Lost have been able to be this creatively consistent over the last 10 years, since The Plague Within, exploring every facet of their sound without anything sounding obnoxious or forced. Only got mad respect for Paradise Lost. They've been one of my favourite bands for a while now, pretty much since Medusa I found them on, and then I've caught them live a couple of times, and they're just really, really good at what they do. If you like doom, death doom, a little bit of goth metal in there, a little bit of old school goth as well, they do it really, really well, and Nick's clean vocals are on point in this album. They sound so good, so gorgeous, still downtrodden while still feeling really passionate, and plus, he's still got great screams and growls. As you hear when he's been playing in Bloodbath, he carries that over here. He's done it really well, and always has. Whether he's singing or screaming, he's an incredible vocalist. The entire band is just incredible, especially Greg. His songwriting and his leads, really, really simple, but they create such a thick atmosphere. the way he bends and things like that, it's insane. And that continues here as well, like the beginning of Salvation, for instance, where it's just that kind of like one note kind of melody line before it erupts into this big doomy section. Just mwah, chef's kiss type shit. And at number 3 we have got Sanguisugabogg with Hideous Aftermath. The fact that Sanguisugabogg have blown up as big as they have is insane. They erupted onto the scene, and the wider scene I should say, with their previous album, but this album takes everything they've done and just makes it even more disgusting, even more brutal, but it isn't afraid to kind of stir the pot a little bit, like Rotten Entanglement starting off with that weird kind of industrial, noisy type bit. But everything about this album is incredible. Devin is on top of his game. Cody is a menace in the drums. He's able to seamlessly switch from kind of groove beats to blast, double bass. The guitarist, whose names I'm blanking on because I'm awful and I've been recording for quite a bit, the guitar sound on this album is just thick, a big wall of noise, really cuts through the mix. The fact that they're drop tuning so low on a 6-string is insane, the way that they make these sounds, but just, oh my god, this is Sanguisugabogg are one of the best modern death metal bands on the planet, probably my favourite, and they have been going places lately, especially in the live front, completing a tour with Defeated Sanity and Despised Icon, and they're coming back to the UK next year to headline with Fulci, Gates to Hell, and Celestial Sanctuary. Classic Grand. I wouldn't be surprised if that show sold out, and I wouldn't be surprised if that show got upgraded, because genuinely they deserve the success. Sanguisugabogg are amazing. Easily my favourite new crop of this new breed of old school death metal revival that's been going on, with bands like Frozen Soul, 200 Stab Wounds, Gatecreeper. Sanguisugabogg are definitely my favourite, and a lot of it is down to their memes. They have top quality fire memes, but also just they kick ass, they work hard, and their music is incredible. I do miss the kind of cheesy, like taking the piss angle, but I completely get why they've kind of moved away from that on the music front while still keeping it active on the social media front. I do kind of miss that cheesiness with the music. Like, take for example their first album with songs like Dead as Shit and Dick Fillet, which I can't help but snigger every time I hear Dick Fillet because it's funny. Because of course it's funny, it's dumb, but it's dumb in a very smart way, I reckon, and I can't wait to see where Sanguisugabogg go after this. It's going to be really interesting to see what happens in album 4 and beyond. But yeah, check out Sanguisugabogg. I fucking love them. Big up Sanguisugabogg. At number 2 we have got Castle Rat with The Bestiary. This is proper doomy classic heavy metal cheese with an incredible female vocalist. It's epic, it's huge, it's kinda goofy, it doesn't outstay its welcome, but this is really, really good. It's definitely made a big impact. This is my kind of first exposure to Castle Rat. Hadn't really listened to a lot of them beforehand, before this album, but they've got me hooked. I'm a fan now. I love this album. It's cheesy, it's got riffs, it's got groove, it's anthemic, it makes me feel like I want to, like, just punch people. But, like, people that do wrong and, like, I'll save you type shit. That's what Castle Rat do, and they do it very well. And then lastly, for my number 1 album of 2025, we have got Coven with Sorrows. Holy shit. I genuinely can't remember the last time I'd heard an album that had this big an impact on me. It was very hyped about. People had a lot of expectations, given that Coven only formed in about 2023. The previous singles really took the Scottish metal scene by storm, the way that they combine kind of gothic music with doom, a little bit of that kind of post-metal influence in there, where everything's drenched in reverb, but it's a masterclass in what it does. And Sorrows is one of the best debut albums I've heard in a long time. and the way that Agnes shifts between her really mournful, crooning, singing voice and absolute banshee-like screams, it always takes me for a loop every time I listen. And I've had it on nearly every day since it came out. And I just wish that life didn't get in the way so I can witness this live as well. I've always been either working or just like doing other things, or there's been another gig on or whatever. And I hate that because I definitely want to catch Coven live, and I will catch Coven live. And I urge everybody to do the same. They have skyrocketed in popularity recently to the point where they are touring Europe with Paradise Lost next year, which is fucking insane, and I am so proud of them. The fact that a band from Scotland is getting this much attention, it really warms my heart and it really makes me feel patriotic. But yeah, that's my albums of the year list. Coven Sorrows, check it out. Up next we have got the Baldy's Banger Awards for Best Album Artwork, Best Lyric, and Best like riff, breakdown, music bit. I don't know if you can think of a better name for that, tell me in the comments. But yeah, that's up next. I would also just like to say that as much as I would love to, in terms of the music category, I won't be able to play a lot of the stuff just because I don't want to risk any copyright from YouTube. I don't want to risk this video's reach getting absolutely neutered. So yeah, sorry. But anyway, up next we have got the Baldy's Banger Awards for Best Album Art, Breakdown / Riff and Lyric, and we're going to start off with the Best Album Art, and the nominees for that are Jaundice with Infernal Demise, Abigail Williams with A Void Within Existence, and Black Braid with Black Braid 3, and the winner for that, the Baldy's Banger Award for Best Album Art, has to be to go to Black Braid with Black Braid 3. It's so beautiful. The colour scheme, the deer, the kind of cosmic galaxy below it, just très magnifique. Has a lot of my favourite colours. I love purple and stuff like that. But it's just an absolutely insanely gorgeous painting. Absolutely beautiful. Congratulations, Black Braid, for making such an incredible piece of artwork. And also just an incredible album as well. Up next we have got Best Lyric, and we have 2 nominations for that, and that is the beginning of the chorus from Bleed From Within's A Hope in Hell, which is "We fell before, we will fall again, the first forgiven, the second amends." It hit me right in the feels when I heard it live. It made an impact when I heard the album, but especially when I heard it live at the Barras, and you hear a bunch of people singing it, it had a deeper meaning as well. That feeling of, you might fall down, but you can do it. You can get through whatever it is. And almost made me cry a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. And then we've got from A Soulless Sword from Fimble Winter's What Once Was EP. Through chaos of distortion you found your peace. I really like that line because it kind of emboldens what metal means to me. It might sound crazy and chaotic and distorted, but when I'm listening to metal, whether it's in my earbuds or my earphones on my phone or on a vinyl record or at a live show, it makes me feel at peace. It gives me peace that I wouldn't get anywhere else. And for that reason, the Baldy's Banger Award for Best Lyric definitely has to go to Fimble Winter's A Soulless Sword. Just thank you for writing that, genuinely. It's so good. That EP as a whole is good, as you heard earlier. It's just très magnifique, and I've never heard a single line encapsulate what I love about this music and this music style so well. And then lastly we have got Best Breakdown / Riff / Bit of Music, whatever. And the 3 main nominations for that are the chugging intro to Orbit Culture's Hydra, the main riff to Abhorrent Contraception by Sanguisugabogg, that kind of oh, so good. And we have got Extortionist with the Low Road Bridge right after that kind of kind of jukeboxy guitar sound, which is dun 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 dun. Feels like something straight out of Pantera's playbook, or very early Alice in Chains, like Facelift era. I feel like that riff would fit really well in there. And for that reason, and because it is something so bold in combining the different styles of hardcore and grunge, definitely the Baldy's Banger Award for Best Breakdown / Riff goes to the bridge in Extortionist Low Road. That entire song, it's very spacey beforehand, so when you get to that transition and then you hear Ben Hoagland scream, "I want a pound of flesh," and that riff kicks in, you just want to turn around and punch the cunt next to you. Just, oh, had a massive impact. But yeah, that's the Baldy's Bangers Awards. This is just a stupid gag, but yeah, hope you enjoyed it. Well, that wraps up the Baldy's Banger Awards for 2025. I hope you enjoyed it. Do you like it in a longer form video? Do you want each of them to be their own separate video? Let me know. Let me know your favourite releases of 2025 this year. Maybe I'll listen to them. Maybe I'll ignore your comments. You never ever know. Just be nice about it. But yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share this video around with your friends. Thank you for all the support. I know videos are kind of less consistent than I'd like, but it's just life, innit? But just know that when I do put something out, it's because I've wanted to, and I truly feel that it's something that I stand behind, even if it is cringy as shit, but that's just me in general. But yeah, again, like, comment, subscribe, thanks for the support, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace and love. Mwah.